One other trend or potential trend that Ghassan mentions here on LinkedIn is the increase of iPaaS, platform as a service. What are your thoughts on platform as a service, or just software platforms in general as a potential trend?
Well, I think that, for instance, on the interoperability platforms like Palantir, like a Snowflake, the opportunity to get an immediate time to value in terms of setting something up so that analytics and data management can be accomplished across an entire enterprise with even disparate systems, and bringing that into a single corporate instance that then can be managed as a single source of the truth. I think that's the promise of some of the iPaaS platforms that are out there. What do you see on that? You've actually addressed that in a couple of your recent podcasts. So,
yeah, there's I think there's something to be said for the platform movement. As far as, in other words, not just choosing an application to automate your business, but instead choosing a platform that applications can be built on, or that you can choose from within that ecosystem of the platform.
Legos.
Yeah. So it's sort of like the interoperability model in some ways, but different. I mean, the interoperability is more focused on tying together multiple systems, maybe across platforms, whereas the platform as a service, or the platform model, is more focused on, let's go find a platform to build those Legos and build or buy, or both, a bunch of different technologies that we can layer on. So a lot of times, if you think about, for example, Salesforce and their Force platform, people think of Salesforce as a CRM provider, but really it's a platform. There's a platform within that there's a bunch of third-party apps that you can use with or without Salesforce CRM. You could, use Rootstock for manufacturing, or use, other options out there for different functions that are not related to Salesforce or CRM. Even you look at NetSuite, for example. NetSuite and Infor, I know, are two vendors that are sort of moving in that direction of more of a platform. Like, how do we engage with third-party developers to create different apps on our platform? And so it's, I think a lot of vendors are going that direction too. So they're recognizing that, yes, we have this core application that we want to sell, but we also have a whole platform that we can use to create other options for enterprises. And I think the good news in all this, it just creates, I guess it's good news and bad news, creates a lot more options for organizations. I feel like now they have a lot more options than they ever had in the past. So even more reason to have a solid digital strategy and roadmap and understanding of what it is you're trying to get at.
Well, and to your point, where it used to be discrete application sets, or even ERP systems that you would implement, now you have the ability to really bring together a number of different application sets, the legacy systems, everything on a single platform. That's really powerful. I see that as a great change.
Yeah. Here's a good follow-up question from Reem on LinkedIn. Reem says, I'd like you to expand on the point about going from ERP to digital enterprise operations. Many companies feel obligated to upgrade their current ERP. These are huge investments, and they see that as the only way forward. And I guess I would add to that too, especially when you look at these sunset strategies that software vendors are deploying to say, you need to get off this old legacy system by 2025 or 2027, whatever the year is, depending on the vendor. So I guess the question is, do you have more, how do you navigate this whole concept of digital enterprise operations within the context of forced ERP upgrades?
Well, I think that's a good question. And the upgrade of many of the enterprise applications out there, I could mention a few, but virtually every enterprise system that's moved to a cloud platform in the last 5 to 10 years has legacy systems that are on-premise, that are single tenant hosted cloud applications. And an upgrade is really a misnomer in many of those cases. It's not an upgrade. It's a completely different set of applications that you're moving to. Yeah. So where we talk about an upgrade, that's a very clean way of saying we're going to migrate from our old applications to our new applications. The problem with that is it's a lift and shift that doesn't take into account the fact that you're moving to a completely different operating system substrate. You're moving to, in many cases, a completely different set of applications that is cloud-based instead of on-premise or single tenant. So you don't have the control or the customization capability that you had before. Moving those customizations into a new system is not an upgrade. It's a complete re-implementation of systems. So, that's where I think I make my stand, is the upgrade of old legacy systems on the enterprise side is not truly an upgrade. It truly is a re-implementation or an implementation of new systems. So why not go out and take a look at what is going to sustain us as a business, as an organization for the next 10, 20 years, rather than let's upgrade our old system, take our old processes, move them into the new system. We have an equation for that, right? It's old processes and new technology equals expensive old processes. So you really want to take advantage of this time to understand what your options are from an enterprise standpoint, and then fold that into the entire digital enterprise operations journey or optimization journey as you go forward. What do you see in that, Eric? I mean, that's something that you talk about often.
Yeah. I totally agree with everything you just said. I would also add though that not only is it a re-implementation of software when, let's just say, you're going from SAP ECC to S4HANA, that is a
Yeah,
re-implementation of new
it's a
software.
great example.
Now you have some what's it called? Not economies of scale, but some efficiencies and knowledge of the SAP platform. Going from ECC to S4HANA is maybe not as difficult as going from ECC to Oracle Cloud, because those are just two totally different. Even though ECC and S4HANA are two different systems, at least it's the same vendor. They have that same SAP look and feel, and organizations tend to have knowledge bases that can work to their advantage if they're sticking with their current vendor. But what you find, in addition to it being a whole re-implementation of new software that isn't a lift and shift, is also the fact that now you're getting a different system with different capabilities and different strengths and weaknesses than what you had before with, say, ECC. So S4HANA brings new stuff to the table that you might not have had with ECC, but there's also some stuff that ECC has that S4HANA does not. And we see that a lot with clients where they just assume that, well, it's got to be ECC plus all the new stuff from S4HANA that we're really getting. That's not the case. So the reason I bring this up is because it's not even just a matter of necessarily choosing a new system. You could decide, let's go look at Oracle and Microsoft Dynamics while we're at it, because this is a total re-implementation. That I totally agree with you. That is something it would behoove organizations to do. But even if you do decide to stick with the same vendor and just go down their cloud upgrade path, you want to find the gaps and the holes in that so that you can figure out how are we going to address those. It might be that we need third-party apps or some sort of customization or whatever. There's some other option that we might need to address those gaps. And that's where a lot of companies get in trouble. They don't do that. Then they try to guess as to how long it's going to take, how much money it's going to cost, but they don't have the right inputs or the right understanding of what they're really getting into.
That's exactly why that upfront strategy and planning, phase zero, is really critically important. You establish the total cost of ownership of moving from one system to a new system, or staying with the system that you have, but upgrading to, for instance, the cloud version. I mean, going from Lawson to Infor Cloud Suite is one of those examples, right? But there is a great advantage in some cases in staying with the incumbent, because just exactly as you pointed out, some of the processes, don't have this complete overhaul. Also, you've been with a partner for years that has been working with you on your enterprise business processes, and sticking with that same partner may be a very good move for the organization.
Right.
So you shouldn't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, and make a change.